All right, this is blog number 1. Take 3. Ha! Children have already come in. My arms are going to get so tired. I'm sitting in my bed right now. So I've been thinking the past week or so, after we have heard countless people say they have wanted to open up a children's museum, but they didn't know how, or it was too daunting, or they were just too scared to make it happen. So I've decided it's time for us to start documenting this process. So last night we had our first board of directors meeting, and I still feel super jazzed and excited about it. My husband basically summed it up. He's on the board as well because he is the main IT guy for us. Anyways, he basically summed it up as he was very amazed to see all this group of people coming together to make this happen because each person brings a different skill set to the table, and that it's like a puzzle and all of the pieces are starting to fit. So I'm super excited about that. We have been going for just over 6.5 weeks at this point. When we first got the idea, so it was pretty much, I've been lonely. Like, my daughter's in kindergarten and she's going to first grade, and I've been tossing around a bunch of ideas of what I want to do with my life. Do I want to go back to work? Not really. I want to be able to be home for my kids for when they're sick or where they have things. You know, should I work from home? I did a preschool. I owned that for several years, but my life is changing and starting to take away too much from my family because it was in my house and in my living room. Anyways, so my friend and I were just talking one day, and I went back and looked at our videos. We were sending messages to each other. I had gotten out of the shower, and before my hair was dry, we had already come up with this idea. Why don't we start a children's museum? And I almost messaged her and said, I'm out. That is way too much work. That is above us. But this has been going strong. So I'll have to look back at the timeline, but I would say probably 1.5 weeks into just talking about it. We're starting to do a bit of research. And it kept coming back to, we need to get a survey because companies want to know if this is really something the community wants. So we put together a survey on Friday. On Monday morning, I was actually out of town. It was a holiday. The news contacted Melody, who actually put the survey out, and really kind of hounded. She's good at her job. Good grief. Hounded to make an interview. So finally we consented and just figured maybe this is supposed to happen for a reason. And things have just really kind of been like a little snowball, just rolling and rolling, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's really taking us away. So we had a community input meeting, which was another thing that they wanted. Hear what the community wants, because this is not just what I want and what Melody wants. It's something for the community. And the only way for this to happen is for this to be a community support. So we got pages and pages of ideas. But one great thing, there were actually several great things that came out of that. One of that is we got a few more board members that were really pushing for, I want to be on the board. I want to do something. Anyways, there's a lot to say. So at this point, 6 weeks into it, we've already filed for our articles of incorporation, which I haven't a clue as to what that is. I can't even tell you what it is, but that's Melody's thing. We actually have very different defined things that we've been working on. And she's been running more finance stuff, and I've been working more on the vision and museum studies and the history of how they got founded, that kind of information. She's working more on the financial plan and the paperwork side, that kind of stuff. So next week is spring break. So we're going to do some museum studies. That's kind of the fun part. So we're going to Reno. So we're going to go check that out. When you go onto the website, it says for first-time applicants to become a nonprofit, it is 100+ hours. That is insane. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. I'm just saying, okay? So basically at this point, I mean, we have looked at buildings and then relooked and then relooked and then relooked and then relooked. Pretty much I'm the one looking at buildings, and then I send Melody all the links, and then we make an appointment with a realtor, which is my neighbor, and he's working with another one that's kind of over all of the commercial properties. And then we kind of start over. Vlog number 2. This is the fun stuff. We're doing museum studies. So today we are at the Reno
Discovery Museum.
Yeah. So there's Quinn right there. How do I do this? Right there, climbing. I met with Patrick, and I took like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Notes?
Yes. Notes after notes after notes. My kids are, ooh, I don't know how you turn it around. They're trying to make earthquakes.
That hurt my ears!
Discovering, learning.
Connor, make the end light up.
Let's see if we can get Connor to. Hurry, Connor, go!
Wait, could someone keep on pedaling?
Generate power, Connor.
This is the dam. You push that lever over there, and they move.
Okay. And we're here.
And you watch through the valley of rocks. Rotating. Which I just figured out. Rotate these. I think you do that to make the water color the blue.
And then what happens in here?
I don't know. I think you make the lights come on.
Okay. Oh, it turns the lights on. Okay. Okay, keep going down. Show me what's.
And they come down here and go over there. There's a passage under there that you can come in here and act like you're swimming.
Okay.
And then you come around here to the system dam. Sorry, you ran off. Okay, I changed the password and it's 7748.
Today, I feel a bit discouraged about the museum. My co-founder says this is like a hamster in the wheel, constantly. You have to have money to get the building, but in order to get the building and start up, you have to have, the 501c3. But in order to do the 501c3, you have to have numbers for a building. And sometimes this is discouraging. There's certain things where you're like, wow, starting a children's museum, that's going to be so cool. But then you don't realize that you have to go to all of these meetings and, get your hopes up and then have it not work. It's okay. If we're learning through this, it's okay to have hard days. I have very sunny windows. Isn't that fun? Anyway, today is a little bit discouraging. So I think we're going to go check out some more spaces. Also, realtors, we have 3 realtors, and that's not really working out. But he's like, you're kind of doing this a little too soon, but at the same time, some grants require buildings, some grants require actual layout of space. You have to have address for a building. How do you do this? How do people do this? Where's the money? This might not be a very good idea for me to do this laying down, but that requires energy to get up. All right, so from when I last left off, we had our second board meeting, so we had to reorganize it because we put ourselves as chair and vice chair, and that had to be redone. So we honestly didn't know how it was going to go. And now that it's over, I still don't know how it went. And there's only moving forward, right? So we're going to figure that out. We still have to finish bylaws, and museums are not super forthcoming in the bylaws, so that's kind of crazy. So my co-founder has put together 10 pages or so. I honestly haven't even looked at it. I haven't even seen it. So I should probably look at that. We're supposed to write bios on us, basically. And what is mine? What do I say for my... I was a former teacher. And then what? Has to be 200 words. Today is one of those days where can somebody just take over? Because this is a lot of work. And so far, we're the only ones that have really put in money. We've had 2 donations outside of us. That totaled $150. So we have a lot of money to raise. A lot of money to raise. My husband is doing the computer work for the logo. So our friend drew it for us, and that's pretty exciting. And it takes time, though. It just takes time to get all of this stuff going. So we're hoping to finally release the name, because we have been the Pocatello Children's Museum, but secretly for like a month, maybe not a month. No, it's only been 2.5 weeks. I want to say 3 weeks, 2 weeks since we changed the name. So we have been doing this for 9 weeks. Now this is not very typical from what we hear from museums. So when we went on spring break, which was the 3rd week, so I had her design it Saturday morning, March 17th, and it's April 5th today. So she designed it on that Saturday, and she pretty much had it done that day, and then she redid a few things, gave us a second draft of it. And let's see, we had our board meeting the 16th. So the following day, that's when I said, because Melody and I had come up with the name of the museum earlier that week, probably the 12th. That's when we finally decided on it. From our community input meeting, somebody suggested My World as the thing. And the more we talked to people, the more they were either regretting doing the little kids town thing that's in museums, like the bank and the store and that kind of stuff, or not just regretting it, also thinking about doing it in Pocatello. So just to stay away from that, we decided to go more STEM based, which is kind of what we were thinking anyway. So so we changed the name. We approved it by the board of directors. The following day, she designed it. And then we had spring break, so we all kind of did museum studies that week. And then my husband started working on the computer for that week. And then he's going to finish it up hopefully tonight, if not tomorrow. So he's been working on it for 2 weeks. Because there's a lot of detail to it, so it's exciting. But let's see, this week was mainly going and seeing the new building and working out the numbers with that, having a board meeting, being incredibly discouraged today and wanting to just say, you guys take over, you do it. You just figure this out. We're done. But we're not really done. We just have days like that, you know. Today was definitely that day. So we're gonna work out the details of getting the website up and going. We're having a little summer garden party that I would be heading up. Do I have experience in this? No. No, I do not. But we're gonna figure that out. So, updates for now. That's where we are. I just wanted to take a quick second and just share something as far as museum and stuff goes. I just got a card from my sister-in-law's mother, who saw our post about the museum and decided to donate. And it's $20, and it seriously has me emotional. It is the little things that other people are willing to do this for us, because you guys, this is so big and so daunting. We did a craft fair yesterday, and it was good, and we got a few people that were interested and followed us on Facebook, and we had maybe, a few things that happened, but sometimes it's just discouraging. How are we going to make this happen? And you want people to get excited. Go in. It is 12:30 in the morning. My family is asleep right now, and we have a mud volleyball tournament, which has been one of these, like, actually kind of pull your hair out from the top, maybe not from the bottom, but I didn't want to do that kind of a thing. Anyways, our early registration ended, but I didn't put it in there. So I had to just wait till midnight to change the prices. So I'm just sitting here. This week, I was not expecting to go on the news. That was a surprise. And so then you get a fret about what you're going to wear and how you're going to look. And the camera angle was not flattering at all. And then you critique everything you say. But it was still good. Glad we did it. And then what else did we do? We met today about the Learning Academy. Don't even know if I've told you about that. And I had a freak out about it. So we'll see what happens with it all. But we are going to do programs starting in September. But the whole idea of it kind of stresses me out a little bit. So, have we talked about this? Probably. But we're still in the stages where we're trying to figure out numbers. So we had a little meeting today to see if we could figure that out. And we'll see what happens with that. Let's see, we met with our advisor and he was all for it, and that was positive. And I'm sorry that I'm talking quiet because it is early. What else happened? Oh, we are meeting tomorrow with somebody about the feasibility study. What the heck is that, you say? You're right. I had no idea what that is until February. That's when I started learning about this stuff. So for some grants and businesses, they want to see if your business is feasible, if your town or city or whatever can sustain it, and they want it. So we're supposed to have stuff ready for that tomorrow. I do not. I'm trying to watch a show. My internet doesn't work, and I sat around here just waiting and waiting and waiting so I could change the thing, and my internet just doesn't want to work. So here I am. We got to do our museum study, so you saw that, and that's awesome. And we got to go back next week again for a family reunion. And you want to know something funny? we got an email today about this building that we looked at, feels like months ago, but everything has been in the past few months. We just officially have done this for 4 months. Like from the day number 1, we said, hey, we should open up a children's museum. And I nearly said, count me out. I'm out. That's too much work. I didn't say it though. And look, here I am. So 4 months, because January 31st was the day Melody said, we should do a business together. I said, what business? What are you thinking? And after a few minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know, it was before my hair was dry, after a shower, so it was less than an hour, she decided we should do a children's museum. And I thought, that's a lot of work. And it is. I'm just going to tell you, it's a lot of work. And you never know what's going to happen. I cannot tell you how my day is going to go, because already today, I now have the appointment for the feasibility study tomorrow. And we met today. That was very last minute, about the Learning Academy. And I need to do a grant. I need to work on a grant. We finished our financials, figuring out some of those details to file, because this is becoming a long video. And a narrative. Did you know you have to do a narrative when you are filing for this? I'm sure people are fancy and they get people and hire them to do all of their stuff, but we don't. We figure it out on our own, and I'm sure it's going to be so amazing. They're going to have no problems with what we put. Narrative. What is a narrative? You have to say exactly what you're doing, so it's not your mission statement. So, I got distracted, and there's nothing here to distract me, but my own brain distracted myself. So, I was talking about the email, about that building. And we had finally told her, because the day before we went on the news, you know, we kind of kept that option open. It was our best purchase a building option, but there were problems. No parking. No parking. And the building has to be renovated. Lots of renovations. There's no elevator in there. It's not really suitable for children. Lots of children and exhibits and that kind of stuff. So we kind of kept it as an option, because at the time it was we were getting so worn down just trying to find building after building that just didn't work. So anyways, we messaged her, Melody messaged her right before our news, the day before. She messaged us today and said, hey, I know a guy, and I'm gonna ask him to buy the building and then give you $600,000 to get it up and going. That's after we announced we're gonna build in a new location. Can you just give me the $600,000, but not the building? What do you think about that? So there was one person that said, hey, we're looking into maybe donating the whole building to you. That is not happening. And then this, it's like, ooh, how many buildings can we have? We're just gonna do it all. So still feels right about building. So I'm not that worried about it. But at the same time, it's like, I have fun with that. Let me know how it goes. You want to game in Monday? Also, it's early in the morning, so you can't judge. You can judge. I'm weird. I'm okay with that. It seems like I had more things to speak about, but basically, that is the current right now of what's going on. Melody said that she wanted to do a little video and say, I just got finished with the news, now I'm gonna go get in my pajamas and snuggle my babies, because this is kind of what life is like. You have to find that balance between being a mother, taking care of your house, and finding millions of dollars. That's what you have to do. So, until next time.